I kind of want to do in some of these videos just kind of a running log of authoritarian moves and dictatorial things the president's doing because we were told so many times before and during the election and during his first term that he doesn't want to be a dictator. He doesn't have anything like that, in him. And comparisons to dictators, famous dictators of the 20th century, were always batted down, and we were rudely insulted for daring to make such comparisons. But I'm going to give you a story. It's not new. We've seen this go on for the last few months now, but it's getting really serious what he's doing to his former critics. And I want you to think about this. Are we allowed to criticize our leaders in this country or not? And I will say this, countries that don't allow criticism of their leaders are authoritarian. They are dictatorial. And to think that we could have a man as president who's going to punish his critics, with criminal charges, for literally all they've done is criticize him, not only shows how incredibly thin-skinned and weak he is, and what a coward he is. He can't take any criticism. Come on, man up. Take a little criticism. You're the president of the United States. That's a job where whoever holds that job is going to get the most criticism of anybody in the country. You will be intensely criticized if you're president, no matter who you are. Well, he can't take it. All our past presidents could take it. They were strong enough to take it. Some of them took it better than others. Nixon didn't take it very well, and our current president is falling right into line with Nixon, except he's 10 times worse. So it's getting to the point where Trump critics fear they could be the president's next target for prosecution, which is exactly the point of prosecuting these people, is to make people afraid to speak out against him. Now, I just did a story recently about the White House, the ballroom he's building, and he promised it was going to connect to the White House, but it would not destroy the White House. There would be in no way impact the actual architecture of the White House. And then, we all woke up one day and he had bulldozers out there demolishing the East Wing. So this is the kind of thing that happens where he says one thing and does another. He can't be trusted based on anything he says. And we have to use our own judgment to decide what's true and what's not true, to make the wisest choice as to whether or not he is going in one direction or another. Well, I've decided he is going in the direction of dictatorship. And a lot of people, of course, agree with that. But fear is spreading among the critics. And the point is to put that fear in them so they don't criticize you, because that's what dictators do. They clamp down on all criticism, and they have to. You know why? Because uh, if people were allowed to tell the truth about them, it would come out that they are so horrible and so incompetent and so ruthless or evil or whatever you want to call it, that they have no place being the leader of a democratic country. So that's what all dictators do. The first thing they have to do is clamp down on free speech. So he's not going to pass a law against free speech, but he's going to go after the most prominent critics with the law and accuse them of crimes, falsely accuse them of crimes. This is what they said Biden did, but I'm going to show you in a minute how Biden didn't do this at all. Fear is spreading among some who've run afoul of President Donald Trump. A foreboding that grew out of Trump's election victory last November has deepened, several people told NBC News, after the Justice Department secured indictments against two public figures who've long been in the crosshairs, Letitia James and former FBI Director Jim Comey. And this is, of course, why they're doing it. They're doing it to spread fear. And here's a guy I really liked, Miles Taylor. He was one of those people who we were so blessed to have as a government official in our country, so talented, so smart, so articulate, loved his country so much. He gave his life to serving our country, and they want to put him in jail. For what? For criticizing the president, which we all have a complete absolute legal right to do. And Trump will say, yeah, well, you may have the legal right to do it, but I have the legal right to put you in jail. Not on false charges, though. Not on false charges. And that's what's going on here. Miles Taylor is bracing for both eventualities, his life savings being drained and the possibility of going to jail. He served as a senior official in the Department of Homeland Security in Trump's first term and wrote 2 books that disparaged the president. Okay, so I know a lot of you MAGA people are saying, well, he insulted the president, so he deserves whatever he gets because he's a Democrat and he wants to destroy the country and he's a terrorist. Except he's not a Democrat. He was a lifelong Republican and conservative, and we all have the right to disparage the president if we like. It's our most fundamental right. It's called free speech. Wow. And the fact that you guys don't get that really makes me think you shouldn't even be allowed to vote. You don't understand the importance of free speech. You don't understand we have the right to and the duty, in fact, to criticize the president when he goes off the rails. We have a duty to call that out and to make that known, to protect the country. And why do you think free countries have been the most prosperous and given their people the most freedom and the most prosperity of any other, type of system? Dictatorships don't do that. Mussolini's Italy, his fascist regime was not able to make Italy prosperous and comfortable. Neither was who's the guy we're never supposed to mention his name? Oh, right, Hitler. Right. Okay, sorry, I mentioned it. But he didn't bring prosperity to Germany, did he? No, he didn't. Franco, he didn't bring prosperity to Spain, and certainly Stalin and that crew didn't bring any prosperity to Russia. They all clamped down on free speech. They killed people who criticized them. And that didn't make their countries prosperous, and it didn't make their people more free. So if you want prosperity and freedom, you're going down the wrong road. You're going down the wrong road. All right, back to Miles Taylor. In April, Trump signed an executive memorandum calling Taylor an egregious leaker and disseminator of falsehoods. Trump stripped him of his security clearance and directed agencies to review his conduct as a government employee. Within days of that memo, Taylor said he got a threat from a person living in the South. More recently, he said his wife received a message warning that that she would be forced to watch while a firing squad executed her husband. Can you imagine? These are people that loved America. He gave his life to serve America, and he criticized the president, the thin-skinned, cowardly president. Anyway, Miles Taylor described arriving home and seeing his wife in tears and shaking after she received the death threat. And I can imagine any wife who loves her husband would be in tears after receiving a threat like that, don't you think? Oh boy. Okay. He said, you don't know, and this is true, you don't know if that person is down the street who wants you in a firing squad or if it's a keyboard warrior who just wants to upset you. You don't know. Is he down the street typing from his tablet, or is he just at home thousands of miles away, you know, getting those frustrations out? He said it really rocks you and your family members to get those messages, and I imagine it would. All of this from the crowd that accuses Democrats of fostering that type of hatred towards Republicans. Come on, get out of here. You know, look at what's going on. He says, I haven't threatened anyone with violence. I haven't committed any crimes. I've expressed a very strong political opinion about the President of the United States, and the consequences have been the destruction of our personal and professional lives. All right, welcome to the Soviet Union. Welcome to Putin's Russia. And look what a White House spokesperson said. I don't even want to say her name. It is the ultimate hypocrisy to accuse President Trump of what Joe Biden actively did throughout his presidency, engaging in lawfare against his political opponents. I said I would show how that was not the case. Look at what Trump's done. He sends a message to Pam Bondi. He made it public. He meant it to be private. He said, Pam, you got to get on the road with these prosecutions. They're killing us. I'm hearing our people. They're complaining. They're saying we're not moving fast enough. We got to prosecute these people. And literally within that week, Jim Comey was indicted on bogus charges, totally bogus. You're going to see when it comes out in court. But Biden didn't do anything like that. There was nothing from Biden going to his Attorney General Merrick Garland saying, hey, you got to get on the horn and get this stuff done. They didn't start prosecuting Trump until the last year of Biden's term. This is not even the first year is finished of Trump's terms, and he's already got 2 or 3 people indicted on these bogus charges because he's so thin-skinned, he literally is not man enough or strong enough to take the kind of criticism every president in our history has been able to take without resorting to these means. He's weak, just so weak. This is, oh, I'm a big, strong man, I'll prosecute them. No, that doesn't show you're strong. That shows you're weak, very, very weak. But Biden did nothing to hurry this along. In fact, he did everything in his power to make it appear, at least, as if he wasn't pushing it at all. And I believe he wasn't because they literally waited till the last year of his term to really get serious about any of these investigations into Trump. And I mean, I knew at the time there wasn't enough time left to finish them. They must have known that too. Why if they were like Trump, if Trump is just copying what they did and the methods they use, then why didn't he wait till his last year in office? And to say that Biden did the same thing they're doing, right? Uh, Totally untrue. Totally untrue. Because first of all, I don't even remember if Trump. Yeah, he was indicted, I think, on the charges in Florida, but I think that was the only one that Jack Smith got an indictment on. Maybe I could be wrong. I'm not sure. But anyway, whatever it was way too little, way too late. But here's the point. Trump and the MAGA people say what Biden did was terrible, it was lawfare, and we shouldn't do lawfare. And then they turn around and say, so we're going to do it too. Well, if it's terrible, why are they doing it? And why are you people who support them letting them do it? Can't you see they're doing what you yourself say is terrible, using the law to go after your political opponents? And a lot of you say you're Christians. So how does that square with loving your enemy? It doesn't at all. And how does that square with treating people fairly and doing the right thing regardless of what other people do? If Biden did the wrong thing, you don't make it right, especially if you're a Christian. You don't make it right by doing the wrong thing too. You know that. Everybody knows that. Uh, you make it right by doing the right thing. So now Trump is saying Biden did it, so I'm going to do it too, and MAGA cheers. Christians shouldn't be supporting this guy. This is one of the many, many reasons why. Because if he says what Biden did with lawfare, so-called lawfare was wrong, then he is also wrong. In fact, doubly wrong to do it himself because he's being hypocritical. He's calling Biden out for doing it, then he's doing it too. So let's add hypocrite to our list of grievances here. Anyway, that's it. I hope that gives you something to think about. I'm Jonathan Burton. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.